1,000 comments in the chat, like I said in All Access, or replacement cones.
1,000 comments in the chat
getting one
today?
to the back of the dome after the show. Second thing, they just announced Alabama's playing Texas at 11 Central, 12 Eastern. Why do we do this?
On Saturday?
On a Saturday, yes, it sucks.
I'm fine with that.
No, early game, putting the big, look, 11 a.m. and early games are appetizers for the entree later. It's 2022, and I get the TV contracts. I get them. But why does Fox keep doing this?
I'm down to watch. It's not gonna be,
is Fox run by just the oldest people in the world?
That game is going to be a slaughter.
Yeah.
It's good. It's going to be, and that may be one reason, low-key, when they won't come out and say that.
Game.
But every time, look, Fox, the people who make these decisions have to be 85 years old. Have to be just ripping and roaring by 11. Like 11 to them is equal to 3 in the afternoon. They probably go eat dinner at 4:30.
Making bad decisions doesn't matter about your age.
No, but what I'm saying is the timeline. Old people like to eat dinner at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock.
Well, you know what? This will be my first football season living on Central Time.
Really?
Never done it.
I will tell you
Always
this.
been on Eastern Time.
When I was coaching in
Bureau in here.
When I was coaching in Montana, the SEC, the early game in the SEC came on at 9 in the morning. You want to talk about waking up and like thinking you're going to get a call from Morpheus? Like when I showed up to work, he's like, "Hey, you need to go. They're coming in now." Like that was really weird because during the bye week, it was great. I woke up like 7:30, 8 o'clock, getting in the shower, doing my routine, brushing my teeth, brush your teeth. And then all of a sudden, next thing, Florida's on. I'm like, this is amazing.
I'm okay with the big game being 11. Sometimes it gets me up and going and gets me ready for a Saturday.
I'm not. Give me
Saturday. If you're a Saturday, and especially if you're tailgating for a game, you want to be at that tailgate before 10.
You do, but I don't want the game to be at 11.
Well, I wouldn't mind me drinking and watching a game at 11 on a Saturday. I mean, if it's a big game, I'm fine with that.
I'm not saying any game, but we'll get into it. Colin Kaepernick completes his first workout for an NFL team in 5 years. We debate which college football team is the greatest of all time, and we'll make our picks for all of tonight's Major League Baseball, NHL, and NBA action. I'm Jake Crane. It's 2 o'clock on a Thursday. If you're not listening, I feel bad. Turn it up. It's Crane and Company. Colin Kaepernick getting another shot in the NFL is a win-win for the league despite all of the hoopla that has followed him around since his abrupt departure from the NFL after the whole kneeling fiasco. And before you freak out and say it's a terrible thing, I'm talking about from an NFL optics perspective. Kaepernick's name has popped up again recently as he just completed a workout for the Raiders after continually being passed up by teams year after year. Now, I can sit here and I can talk about how hypocritical he is for crawling back to the same people that he's basically called slave owners, or to sit here and question his motives. But that's the low-hanging fruit and overtly obvious, and I've already talked about that. My stance on Kaepernick making a roster being positive for the league is pretty simple, and it's multi-pronged as well. If Cap does make a roster, and he does not do well, it totally blows up the narrative of being blackballed from the league, only because of his political views, and puts another feather in the cap of the Cap just not being good enough to be picked up hat. Now, I'm sure he'll still find an excuse why it didn't work out, but the proof would be in the proverbial pudding. If he makes a roster and does well, then it's a redemption story of how the NFL changed their ways and gave Kaepernick the chance he deserves. And the NFL will be praised by all of the mainstream sports media outlets for being so inclusive and showing growth and understanding for what Cap stood for and did, which in my opinion is total baloney, but we all know they would definitely run with that narrative. But let's make sure we separate that what may be good in the short term for the NFL isn't necessarily good for the long-term health of the league. Do I think he'll get another shot? I still don't think so. But the league cares about one thing above all else: optics, because it equals money. In either scenario, they can come out clean optically. So I would not be surprised if we saw Kaepernick on a roster soon. But I, like most of you, just want this Kaepernick crap to be over with, and let's play some football, man. Cone, gonna bring you in. Blaine, at this point, from an NFL standpoint, I think they want to do it, and I think they're probably gonna do it. Because again, optically, it is a true win-win. Either you're right because he wasn't good enough, then he'll make the excuse that it was because he was 5 years out, or he is good enough and you are the most accepting, understanding, realizing you made a mistake and you should have let Cat back earlier. He'd probably be man of the year. The NFL would give him an award. He could not play one snap, but they'd give him an award. How much you want to bet?
I don't think Colin Kaepernick wants to play in the NFL. I don't think he does. I think this is all just a pub stunt.
He's saying he does.
I bet he's saying he does. I don't believe him. I don't. It's just, I think it all goes back to just the pub. Because, what's changed now? What's changed? You had a tryout. Everybody was there. You're the prettiest girl at the party. And you what? So you bailed on it.
Why wouldn't he just say, this is how I view the NFL. I don't want to be a part of their organization anymore and go that route.
Because it's a pub. I think he's trying to play a long game with something like this. I don't think, because first of all, he is never going to play. If he makes the Raiders, he's never going to play.
No, he'll never play.
He'll never play. And then he'll get to the point, you know why they're not playing me? Because I'm black.
Which is ridiculous.
It'll get to that point. I don't believe a word that comes out of this guy's mouth ever.
Oh, I'm not saying I believe, but I would not be shocked if the NFL and him got together and said, listen, this would be a win-win either way.
God, I'm just so I'm just sick of this that this keeps coming up in football.
Well, look at when it pops its head up. Look at when it pops its head up though, Cone. Mm-hmm. This story only pops its head up at very advantageous times. All of a sudden, we're 100 days out from football, and here we go. Kaepernick's got to work out. And Mark Davis, Al Davis's son, guy who runs the Raiders. Mm-hmm. The Raiders have always been very willing to let people try out an inclusive franchise. They always have been. And could this be just them adding, another notch to that belt? Yes. But I don't think Cap's good enough. But I don't know, Cone. I am starting to go over to your side thinking that the NFL wants him.
You think so?
I'm starting to think that.
I'm going to keep this as simple as I possibly can here. Every employer runs a cost-benefit analysis on every employee to determine the value that they add to the organization. Colin Kaepernick was adding less and less value every year after he played for a Super Bowl, whether it's due to the coaching changes or the injuries he had, and he was becoming more and more of a liability at that time, or at least that's what the league and the teams viewed once he began kneeling. Okay, the ratio between value and liability was trending in the wrong direction for him. Now, if he was performing at the level that Patrick Mahomes is today, or Russell Wilson, could he have gotten away with what he was doing off the field? I don't know. That's not for me to say. Maybe the NFL still would have viewed that as a liability too great to employ him. But right now, to me, with the NFL the last few years, it seems to me like they view his activism as a positive, as a net value add for the NFL. And I think they do want him to play on a team. What gets lost in all of this when we're talking about, is the NFL blackballing him, or do they actually want, from a public relations standpoint, to get him back on a team? What gets lost in all this is his play on the field. So I put together some numbers here. I have Colin Kaepernick's numbers from 2016, the last year he was in the NFL, and I have 4 other quarterbacks' numbers to compare that to.
Go ahead.
Kaepernick from 2016 threw for 2,241 yards, 16 TDs, 4 INTs, and had a completion percentage of 59.2. He played in a dozen games that year. Here's a list of 4 other quarterbacks who outperformed Colin Kaepernick in 2016. Okay. Sam Bradford threw for 3,877 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks, and I think actually led the league with a 71.6% completion percentage. Trevor Siemian, 3,400 yards, 18 TDs, 10 picks, 59.5% completion percentage. Tyrod Taylor, 3,000 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, 6 picks, 61.7% completion percentage. And lastly, Blake Bortles in 2016 threw for 3,900 yards, 23 touchdowns, 16 picks, and had a slightly lower completion percentage at 58.9. My point is, all 4 of those quarterbacks aren't playing in the NFL to this day.
It's good.
They don't care about that.
It's facts. That's exactly right. That's too many facts, Cone. That makes too much sense.
And you add to that Colin Kaepernick used his legs a lot to add value on the field, and now he's, 34, 35 years old?
Let me just ask you this, and I'm going to get the Booster Club, and then we'll move on to greatest college football teams ever. It's a crock to me because you literally, on a Netflix special, compared the NFL and the people that run the NFL to slave owners. You said they poke and they prod you, that there's no dignity. They're like, hey, look at this guy, look at this, like an auctioneer. And now you want to go back and work for that organization. In what world does that not make you look like you're full of crap? If I accused you, Cone, if I came up to you and I said, David Cone, you're like a slave owner. You're a racist. You're a horrible person. Whatever. You think you'd want to come back and work for me?
No.
Or I'd want to come back and work for you?
Yeah.
I know it's not new news, but I'm saying it in a wholesome thing. When you look at how the situation has evolved, how you can cry about not getting let back into a league that you called one of the worst things that you could possibly call, it just shows you that in our country right now, we have one of the worst problems you can have, which is when you make the most simple things the most complex. Because if you can't understand the simple things, you'll never understand the complex things. And that's a big problem we have.
That one is a tough one to square, certainly. But again, let's bring it back to the field. If you are a Giants fan right now, and you don't believe in Daniel Jones, or you're a Texans fan right now and you just got rid of Deshaun Watson, or even a Seahawks fan. I mean, Pete Carroll is on record saying that Colin Kaepernick is an NFL-worthy quarterback. If you're a fan of one of those teams and you don't care about anything Colin Kaepernick has ever done from an activist point of view, are you thinking, man, couldn't Kaepernick, even at this age and being out of the league, come in and be better than a Daniel Jones, or come in and start for the Seattle Seahawks? Like, if you're a fan of one of those organizations, are you thinking that we should at least have him have a shot?
Yeah, I mean, did Pete Carroll put the word starter in there? He's a starting NFL quarterback? Because he could go be a backup for sure.
But he basically said the other day when he was talking to Brandon Marshall and that, like, he's okay with being a backup early, but he wants to be the starter. I'm telling you, if he went a year being the backup and he won the starter, we'd start this whole thing over.
Well, would that work, you think? Like, listen, from this point of view, like, some of the people who don't watch the NFL anymore because of what Colin Kaepernick started with the kneeling, some of them are gone for good.
Yeah,
no matter if Colin Kaepernick, and I know some of them, they're gone from the NFL for good. They're going to watch college football for the rest of their life. It doesn't matter if Colin Kaepernick plays again or not. Do you think the NFL sees this as an opportunity to say, well, you know what, let's at least win back some of the people who aren't watching the NFL because of the perception we blackballed Colin Kaepernick, even if he only joins a team to be a backup? Do you think the NFL is thinking, Raiders, Mark Davis, please sign him. He's not going to beat out Derek Carr, but put him on the roster.
I'll answer your question with what they said. What's the cost-benefit analysis?
Sure.
That's what it's going to come down to. Which side of the fence do they have to play to be able to try and bring the most people back in? I don't think they're ever going to bring the people they already lost, like you said, so I would not be shocked if they
when it comes down to character in the NFL, they'll always go with what can win them money.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. What's the Booch Club say, Blaine? Both branches.
All right, first of all, Insane in the Crane says, hashtag Ask Crane & Co. We want to know, first of all, also RIP Ray today.
R.I.P. Ray Liotta.
Yeah, we lost
Tough loss, man.
One of the
Goodfellas, one of the greatest movies ever
made.
He
wants us to pick Godfather or Goodfellas?
Goodfellas.
I'll stay with Godfather. I mean,
I'm Goodfellas.
There's levels to it.
I'm not going to pick between those.
There's levels to it.
Okay, Angelo G. Bottom line for Cap is this. You need to combine his last 2 season stats to make a decent season stats, and it's only 2 wins.
And you're 5 years out the league.
Well, again, and think about this, too. This is another important point. The coach who really believed in him and drafted him, Jim Harbaugh, had left at that point, right? So you're trying to succeed in a new person's offensive scheme, which was Chip Kelly. They had another coaching change after that, but the fact still remains, after appearing in the Super Bowl, he went 8-8, and then he didn't play a full slate after that. So 2-6 and 1-10, I believe, in terms of wins and losses. Again, he got injured. He was banged up, had coaching changes. We've seen even his counterpart, Alex Smith, went off and still had some productive years. I'm not saying Colin Kaepernick couldn't have done that. And I'm not even completely saying that the NFL didn't blackball him and agree like, hey, this isn't good for the league. All I'm saying is when you're an employer, you need to take into account more than just the talent level or the performance on the field. And I think that's what happened.
Again, all right, you two, Branch.
Yeah, Stephen Barber, all right, he wants to know, why not just see how Cap does in his tryout?
Well, they did. That's what they're going to do.
Well, how much can you really learn?
That's true. I put the pads on.
Really learn from a tryout? Because I promise you, a lot of guys can go out, and it comes back to the pro day stuff.
A lot of guys can shoot
go
when there's
out,
nobody's guarding them.
Go out on air and look like the best quarterback we've seen in a long time.
That's the difficult
question. But then you put them in pads. You put guys who are trying to hit them in front of you with mixed coverages, and they turn into a different guy. So how much can you really tell off a guy's tryout.
Well, to me, Cap's been in the league. He's played football a while. I'm not as worried about that as if I'm going to watch you work out, I want to see how you move. I want to see how you move at this age. I've watched the highlight tapes of you and how you were at Nevada, how you were when you came in the league. I want to see how is your arm strength still? Are you able to turn? Are you able to bend? Can you throw off platform? How do you look moving around? Are you limping a little bit? Physically, how do you look? So there's a lot that you can get from somebody that's already played in the league more than somebody that hasn't. But still, when you haven't played competitive football at that level, at the highest level in the universe, at least from what we know, for the last 5 years, then I got to see it. I'd rather you come, let me teach you 5 or 6 plays, which you'll know, and we'll go inside drill or something like that.
From Georgia,
or 7-on-7.
Being from Georgia, I've been getting asked from a lot of Falcons fans, like, hey, we don't have Matt Ryan anymore, right? We're tanking for one of these top.
No, but then why'd y'all draft Desmond Ridder?
Like, don't you think that Kaepernick could come in and add more value than a Marcus Mariota or a Desmond Ridder at a young age?
If you're tanking.
Especially in like an urban market like Atlanta. And I say, I don't know. I need to see it. You know, you can't just judge that just from a workout footage.
What if you used Colin Kaepernick? What if you double dipped? And if you're the Falcons, I know they're not going to do this, but if they signed him to be the starter because they know he'd be bad, so they could go ahead and get Bryce Young and then get all the love for a year of signing Kaepernick and giving him, a chance to play. And then when they go 2-14 and they got the #1 pick, you just really doubled up best of both worlds.
Is?
But no, let's
is?
draft Desmond Ridder.
That's the classic Michael Scott win-win-win.
Win. That's the win-win-win situation.
All right, a couple things here. All right, one,
all right, we got to get to greatest ever.
Okay, real quick. Stephen Barber wants each of you to say something nice about the Braves.
They're World Series champs until they aren't.
Defending World Series champs.
They're World Series champs until they aren't.
Dansby Swanson's hitting great with runners in scoring position. Everybody look outside. Is there a meteor heading toward the earth?
ESP Robart says, does Cranico answer questions on YouTube? Only time we got an answer was on Daily Wire. And yes, we do. And
yes, we do.
This question right now. How will the NFC West pan out this season? And you think the Cardinals still good?
When we went over the division winners, I picked the Cardinals to win this division. I know Hop is out. Kyler's about to get his money. Cliff's got his money. I like the Hollywood Brown connection, even though he's really only a vertical threat. I still like what they have defensively. Get through the first 6, play well, then get Hop back, and then make your run. I've liked the Cardinals. I'll continue to like the Cardinals, and I'll continue to say I think the Chargers will win the Super Bowl.
I still like the Rams in that division.
I don't think you're crazy.
I still like the Rams in that division. And really the 49ers to run it up. My thing with the 49ers is they really must believe in Trey Lance. They really have to believe in him if you're trying to shop Jimmy Garoppolo around.
If Debo don't go back to the Niners, they may not score. They may average 14 points a game. I'm being dead serious.
And Hop's out for what, 6 games? Or
6
is it
games.
6 games?
6 games, I believe.
All right. But we all have the Seahawks coming in last in that division?
Yes, right? I think we all do. Okay. I think they're going to see the last place in that division. But, all right, it's time for the college football quick hitch. And boy, do we have one. We combine the college football quick hitch and the greatest ever segment into one mega Transformer Optimus Prime Mega Ranger segment. So, greatest ever today.
You two first.
College football teams. I think we got the same one.
Because y'all don't know what I'm picking, do you?
I know. Some people will say 2019 LSU. Okay, some people say 2019 LSU. Some people will say 2020 Bama because you had an all-SEC schedule. Ran through it. I will say this. If we were going on and off the field, I've got to go like 1945 Army because you won the Natty and World War II.
Yeah.
But we're talking about just on the field. And I'm not picking somebody from the 50s or the 60s or the 80s or honestly the 90s because the game is so different right now. And I know you can say, all right, well, it's the greatest teams in their era. If the best team from this era played the best team from that era with the way athletes have evolved, they would destroy them.
So the players better now.
So wait,
the players are better now.
Yes. So the players are better now, but not back then. Okay.
Look, if you're trying to find a roundabout way of saying Michael Jordan's not the greatest,
there's always
like you always do.
It's just funny to hear.
You're wrong.
Like
okay, now let's move on. We're talking about the greatest college football teams.
Yeah. Don't muddy the waters.
Would you like to join the conversation?
Yeah,
that's fine.
So are we capping this at 2000? Is this a 21st century thing, or
you pick whoever you want. I'm just telling you my philosophy on it.
So
okay,
you're just trying to already defend.
I'm not naming a team that had a guy named like Ronnie Crazy Legs Jensen.
Hey, he's pretty good, man.
From like 1951. Here's what I got. It's 2001 Miami.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple. I'm going to go through some reasons why. All right. And we're going to roll these clips as I'm talking. Larry Coker, the one champ Joker. Here's what I got. 2001 Miami. I'm just going to name a couple players and then some stats. Okay. Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, Ed Reed, Vince Wilfork, Jonathan Vilma, Kellen Winslow, Sean Taylor, Jeremy Shockey, and I'm not even getting close to the amount. Here are some numbers. Georgia's defense last year we said was the best ever, right? And since they play in this era with new offenses, I'll give them that credit. They gave up 10.4 points a game, Georgia did last year. Miami gave up 9.8 per game. Miami in 2001 beat 5 top 15 teams by a combined score of 236 to 72. On that roster, not in that year, but on that roster, they had 38 players drafted, 17 first round, 6 second round, or day 2, second round and third round, and 15 round 4 through 7 picks. That leads to 75, think about this, Cone, 75% of the NFL teams drafted a player from Miami that was on that roster. 75%. 19 of the 22 starters for Miami got drafted.
19 of the 22 starters?
19 of the 22. And they played physical, they played fast, and they were one of the most disciplined Miami teams, in my opinion. Even going back to Miami's heyday before that. Ken Dorsey was a good quarterback. He was not a great quarterback. They had an NFL team. It's 2001 Miami. They went 12-0, 7-0 in the conference. That, to me, because I went back and forth, 2001 Miami, 2004 USC. And I just landed on it because those numbers are incredible when you look at that roster. And you could go through that roster and look, and it's just name. It's a who's who.
Okay, look, I mean, it's 2001 Miami.
Thank
but
you.
I do have an honorable mention. I don't even have to go through the roster of Miami. Your safeties are Ed Reed and Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else. I don't.
How did
But
nobody
let me throw
die,
this honorable
like,
mention
during the
out
game?
here.
22 starters,
The
and you don't need
2004 Auburn Tigers.
Really?
Yes.
Jason Campbell,
Dog.
stud. Carnell Williams, Ronnie
Dog.
Brown, Thunder and Lightning. Name a better duo.
They had Brandon Jacobs, too.
And Brandon
duo.
Jacobs, sorry, you're not good enough.
Reggie Bush, Lindell.
Sorry,
White's a pretty
6'3".
good duo.
Not a better, no, not
better
better.
back.
Not better. Courtney Taylor, Devin Aramashadu, Anthony Mix,
And
Cooper
Obamane.
Wallace, Travis Williams, Junior Rosegreen, Carlos Rogers.
Junior Rose.
They cheated us. They cheated us, and we should have played for the national championship, and I'll never forgive you.
All right. A
All
few
right,
things here. One, that 2004 Auburn team should have been able to compete in the postseason.
They let Hobble,
Not right.
Ripple,
And
Jason
that's why the
White
14 playoff
and
was invented
Oklahoma
right
play
there.
and embarrass
It
everybody.
was
That's why the
56 like the
14th playoff.
3. In
Yeah.
Also, a word on that Miami team. My buddy Alex is tuning in today. He agrees with you guys.
Thank
From
you,
Miami.
Alex.
Not only that, he said the 2002 team was just as good. That the phantom flag at the end against the Ohio Buckeyes with Maurice
I remember
Clarett
that.
year. He also said that 2000 team, when those kids were pups, beat Florida in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans on the field and beat them up on Bourbon Street.
You had Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Jonathan Vilma. Like, you had straight killers on the football field.
So you guys are both going with 2001
Yes.
Miami.
Yes.
Great.
I want to see
An
what the
honorable
Great.
mention 2004 Auburn, David. Don't you forget
Really?
about
So
that.
what does that mean?
Because a lot of
Second?
people
That means
forgot
that's the
about that
second
Auburn
best team of
and
all time?
I refuse.
I'll never
to
Everyone's
know.
forgotten about him.
I got to walk in the locker room that year, and I'll never forget it. Anthony Mix is still one of the biggest. Was King Dunlap?
Yes.
King Dunlap is the biggest human I've ever seen in my life. If
He
you
was
ever
so
watched
tall.
anime in your life, it's that Titans.
I never have. I never
what
have, and
King
I never
Dunlap
will.
was. I know, Squirtle.
Okay.
What does the Booster
Look,
Club say, Blaine?
I have to get out
95,
my.
okay.
I have
Yeah,
to get
David,
out
go
my
ahead.
greatest
Go
team
ahead.
of all time.
You
No. I can't pick 2001 Miami. I have to
Okay.
go different. Okay.
USC?
There was a short list. There was a
Same.
short list. 2004 USC for sure was on that list. You have to talk about
Are you
it.
going to say
talking
2004
about-
Auburn?
1995 Nebraska. You have
Here
to
we
talk
go.
about. Okay. You have to talk.
They're a
about.
great team.
The reason in
team.
2020 Alabama, with not playing a full schedule, I do believe there's an asterisk there. So you can't play it out to its full conclusion.
But they did
So,
play a full SEC schedule, though.
full SEC schedule, and they were really good. But
Yeah.
you know what? The greatest football team in college history was the 2019 Louisiana State Tigers. Run it. Run this highlight here, okay? While I talk about their greatness. First of all, Ken Dorsey. In today's game, you need a dog at quarterback to get the
They
job
got
done.
one.
Ken Dorsey wasn't that guy, okay? Ken Dorsey wasn't that dog. This is that guy right here. Look at Joey Burrow right here. Won the Heisman Trophy with the greatest margin of victory ever in the history of the award.
Defense wasn't good enough.
60 touchdown passes. I can't even count that high. Also set an NCAA record for passer rating. 1,400-yard running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 2 1,500-yard wide receivers in Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. 2, okay? With the former winning the Blitnikoff Award. Their offensive line won the Joe Moore Award. And you're talking about the defensive side of the ball. 2 All-Americans with the Jim Thorpe Award winner in Grant Delpit and freshman Derek Stingley Jr., who just went 3 overall. And their linebacker, Jacob Phillips, led the SEC in tackles. You said that Miami had 5 top 15 wins. This LSU team had 7 top 10 wins and outscored their opponents by a combined 726 to 328.
Hold on, say that whole stat again. You said
so
7 top 10?
7 top 10.
Why did I not remember that?
What was it? What they always compare that team? If that team could play, what was it, 2019?
2020 Bama.
2020 Bama.
Could play 2019
2020
LSU.
Bama. And look, I think there is an asterisk with the COVID year, even though Alabama and Mac
Not
Jones
their fault.
ran everyone. And it was
It wasn't
Devontae.
close.
That was Devontae Smith. Ran over everyone.
Yeah, it
So,
wasn't close. I watched one play of the Auburn-Alabama game. I was like, all right, guys.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you have a team like that, most important guy in the organization, who do I always say it is? The bus driver.
bus driver and the plane
bus
driver and the pilot.
Just the pilot and the bus driver. Just fly us to where we got to go. Bus driver, get us to the game safe, and we will beat them to sleep.
But I will grant you guys the coolest football player of all time, Willis McGahee, with the colored
What a
visor.
devastating
With the
injury.
colored visor.
That
Come on,
injury
man.
still, it was dope. But like I think about McGahee's injury. I think it was in the Natty where he got
Well,
his knee.
but I thought that was
I
02,
still
right?
think
Yeah.
that Sean Taylor would probably be the best defensive player ever to play the game of football if he didn't die.
I know. It's a terrible
Better than
story.
Lawrence Taylor?
Yes.
All right, Booster Club, how many people are going to say 95 Nebraska, and then we'll get like 1951 somebody who, what do
Let's
we got?
don't treat
That's funny
1950.
you're on that.
Hold on, don't
We go-
treat
we go
1951
straight-
like
We go
1995.
straight
okay?
to Daily Hater.
Okay.
It says 71 Nebraska was one of the best teams.
71?
Yeah.
The 71 Nebraska team,
Also-
they would lose to the 2019 LSU team by 35 points. Yo, I'm just telling you, they wouldn't know what was going on. Like, they'd be running an offense that
don't
looked
do
like
that to them.
witchcraft and wizardry.
Hey, football needs Nebraska to be good, guys.
They do, but 71 Nebraska, what are we going to play Back to the Future here? They would get beat to sleep.
Bubbly Gut says, wasn't there a USC team with like 5 future Hall of Famers on it?
I'd have to go back and look. I would wonder if that's back in the O.J. Simpson days.
I
But
think it was. What was it?
that
Was it in the
2004, I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
68, 69.
I don't care who was on that team back then. The 2004 USC team would beat them by 30 points. I'm just telling you, it's different. It's like me getting transported in the future with like the weapons we have now and having to go fight somebody from 50 years from now that's shooting lasers and beating me with mind control. What am I do? Bring a handgun in there?
I found one top 10 list on Bleacher Report that had number 10, 56 Oklahoma Sooners.
Ew.
Number 9, 1979 Alabama Crimson
Can't
Tide,
take it
which was
seriously.
Paul Bear Bryant's last national championship. 8, 2005 Texas Longhorns with Vince Young. 7, 2018 Clemson Tigers. 6,
They were good.
6, the 2019 LSU Tigers. Number 5, the 2004 Trojans. Number 4, the 95 Nebraska Cornhuskers. 3, the 72 Trojans. You might have been right. That may have been, okay, 72 Trojans. Is that the one they were talking
that's what
about?
I'm
Or-
guessing.
Oh, no, number 2, 71 Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Okay.
And then number 1, the 2001 Miami.
It's the
Hurricanes.
truth.
Yeah.
What's the YouTube branch say, Blank?
Okay,
Love.
Steve, let's go to Connor Morgan. He says, the 1815 Yale team is running.
Listen.
2019 LSU.
Yes.
2020.
Listen.
Yes,
If you
Yale.
think they're good, you should see the 1817
Rowan Crew.
Susan B. Anthony Chargers. Susan B. Anthony State. Those guys were pissed, and they were really good. They actually invented the touchdown.
Colin Houston says the 1988 Notre Dame national champs with yours truly, Coach Lou Holtz.
Coach Lou Holtz. Listen,
Good ball team.
look, I'm going to just keep it a stack. None of those teams are beating any of the teams. I can understand why people would say that in that era. In that era, if you want to look at it that way, that's great. What else?
We got the 2017 UCF national champions.
All right, which one of
We got
y'all
a bunch
said
of
that?
trolls in the chat
National
today.
champ.
Which one
A
of
bunch
y'all?
of
Who
trolls
said
in
it?
the chat.
Who said it? Who said it?
It was.
Who said it?
Okay, I think Ethan Callahan was correcting somebody.
Oh, okay.
But he says UCF, and it was 2017.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not going down this road again. Y'all know how I feel about UCF. YouTube chat, stay hot as well.
That was YouTube
branch.
chat, yes.
Yep, saying stay hot as well. Let's get another one from the D-Dub branch real quick.
Jimbo Eagle wants to tell two things here. Barefoot Cowboy says the 1939 St. Mary's Gals Gales.
Yeah.
Gals.
Gales.
Excuse me. Hands down, best team. And also, Jimbo Eagle says the 2022 Vanderbilt Commodores will go down as the greatest college football team in history. You know why? Because they got expectations.
You want to know the only way
Anchor down.
You want to know the only way that they would be remembered as 2022's best college football team?
Tell me.
Is if they're all in the facility. Everybody that's associated with Vanderbilt football is in the facility. And it's underground. And a meteor hits the whole earth and wipes out every living thing on the planet except the Vanderbilt football organization. That would be the only way that in 2022 Vanderbilt would have the best.
Hey, well, you know what? Write your own history, Commodores. There you go.
Well, guys, what's the over-under for wins on Vandy for the season? We got to look at that. How much on bet's 3.5?
Pull up the schedule.
Do you remember when Vanderbilt played UConn last year in the game heard nowhere around the world?
I do remember that. I took Vandy.
I need to say
hit,
this, and this needs to be said. Okay, Bubbly Gut wants to tell us. You know what 2001 Miami team didn't have? Stickers on their helmets.
But if they did.
Bubbly Gut.
Yes, they did. They got the U sticker on
those
there.
are decals.
Those are
not individualistic.
Stickers, David.
Those are not incentivization.
You stuck them on the helmet.
Okay? No. What helmet does every single player on the team get day one of install?
Cone, I'm going to tell you this.
What do they get?
I'm going to tell you
That's the helmet.
Decal is the bougie way of saying sticker.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry. There it is.
Let
me send that note to the top deck of the Titanic. We're drowning down here. Elitist. All right.
There's room for both.
Don't make me call Brando.
There's room for you and Jack on the door, Kate Winslet. Move over.
Selfish.
It's freezing and it's the ocean. If you really love him, move over.
So I can't get on the door, but you expect me to open the door?
If he gets on the wood plank with her, you can't make the sequel. Jack, all washed up.
Oh. You know what? On that note, that was almost as good as the Willie White.
That was good, Dave.
If you want to watch or listen to the rest of the show, you can still listen on YouTube. But if you want to watch it, head over to thedailywire.com. If you're on YouTube, stay there. We got you. And become a member. Or just go be a member, guys, on YouTube. Go do that. Or listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with your friends. We got some big news coming up, but we'll be right back with a great second half of a great first show of Thursday. Shoot, one year Vanderbilt literally had some of the women's soccer team on their football team. They had a squib kick.
Oh, man, that was
I'm not getting into that. All right, welcome back. If you're on YouTube listening, still staying there, ready now. But Daily Wire fam, as usual, it's good to talk. And you know what it's time for? Hit that button.
Pew, 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 pew. Rapid fire.
Or double jeopardy.
Where y'all want to start? NBA?
Let's go NBA.
Look, you had Marcus Smart over 24 points yesterday.
Jimmy Butler.
Or Jimmy, I mean, what did I say?
Right game.
Yeah.
Like you're in the right
building.
Hey, I'm going to get there.
Yeah,
I will get there. Jimmy Buckets, you had 24 over points. Celtics take a 3-2 lead over the Heat, and they come back to Boston. Is that right? Yeah. So I said Boston in 6.
Yeah, I had Boston in the series. I think they're a better team, but this game sucked.
This game
it was back and forth in the first half.
This game was terrible. This is the only game I've ever watched an NBA game where I thought I could go out there and have an impact.
Well, how much of that is because you had Jimmy Butler?
No, not even that. Not even that. Cone. I've seen people miss shots before, and that's fine. But this was just bad basketball all around. I know the Celtics won, but you can honestly look at this game like, wow, this has been a great game. I'm having so much fun watching these conference finals.
They've been bad. I'll say this. After watching the Heat play last night, Jimmy Butler's hurt, number one.
Yeah.
He's not. Jimmy Butler's not the type guy to turn it down. I'm not saying it'll be going in every night. I'm not saying that he's the best player in the NBA, but he doesn't have the personality where he's going to turn down the moment. Yesterday, he looked slow. He looked hobbled. He was trying to get rid of the ball after he missed a point-blank range.
Two
of them right at the rim that he missed. He looked hurt, and the Heat, you really saw with Kyle Lowry banged up, with Jimmy Butler banged up, the quality of the Heat depth when their star can't go is way different than if Jason Tatum's a little bit beat up for the Celtics, or a high-level player for the Celtics is somewhat beat up. The Heat last night looked like they were playing with some guys that were undrafted. And I know we talk about building teams versus buying teams, And, I mean, you got Max Strus, Vincent, who actually didn't play bad, in my opinion. Duncan Robinson. If you're relying on Strus, Gabe Vincent, and Duncan Robinson to beat the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, you're in big trouble.
I think that this series might come down to who's less injured. Jason Tatum's hurt. Smart's hurt. Al Horford's almost banged up. Robin Williams kind of banged up. Jimmy's banged up. Kyle Lowry's banged up. Tyler Hero's banged up. I think this series might come down to who's somewhat of the healthiest team will win.
Well, it's not leaving Boston.
Well,
Boston going in
well, that's what I was going to ask next. I mean, Boston is banged up too, and if you're Miami at this point with these last few games, you feel like, well, if we force a Game 7, at least it's at our place. We're happy with that. We're happy with our odds, winner take all in the last one. Can they force a Game 7?
I don't think they're going to be able to. If Robert Williams, and I know he's been a little bit beat up, if you saw how small the Heat were at some points yesterday in that game, I find it hard to believe that they're going to be able to keep this next game within 10 points. I think the Celtics are going to continue to feed the beast. I think Robert Williams is going to continue to dominate. Grant Williams is going to do his thing. But the Heat are beat up in the worst places right now, and it just is what it is.
I was more surprised about the Jimmy Butler.
He's hurt. You can tell he's hurt.
Well, the thing about it was like, you need quality minutes. Like, we need quality minutes from you. You're that guy. If you're hurt, and you can't give us quality minutes, if you don't think you can, then we won't play.
Well, he was a decoy last night. That's what he was.
For who?
The Heat.
Well, who's he decoying for?
Just trying to make these Celtics stick to him so you can create some more space for the other guy.
I don't feel like he was a decoy because he took like 7 shots in the first quarter, missed most of them, and then did nothing.
Yeah.
Well, let's move to tonight's game. So Luka Doncic did find a way to force, or at least avoid being swept with the Mavs. So Mavs at Golden State, Game 5.
Yeah. I think this one ends tonight, too. I think both these series will be done. We'll know who's going to be playing in the NBA Finals after the next 2 days. I think Luka's going to give him a hell of a fight. I think Brunson then will give him a hell of a fight. But what let the Mavs win the game the way they won it was Finney Smith coming out being effective. The role players for the Mavs taking a little bit of pressure off Luka. Luka still did his thing, but it wasn't just on him like it was the game before. I mean, you had Maxey hitting, Kleber. You had a group of guys, an army full of guys that were behind Luka, and the Mavs won that game as a team. Can they go to Golden State and do that same thing? We saw them do crazy things in series before, but I think this is where the experience of the Steph Curry, the Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and those guys is going to overtake them. They know they need to end it tonight. I think they're going to end it tonight, and I got a feeling Draymond might have a big game, and that's not me alluding or giving any foreshadowing to my bets, but it also might be.
Blaine?
Man, this game's so weird to me because I know Luka's going to ball. So what you're betting on realistically is the Mavs role players. That's what you're betting on. Klay needs to play good. I feel like Steph's going to play good, but I feel like I think the spread's 7.
Yeah.
I do feel like the Mavs covered this spread. I feel like this game.
You do think they do?
Yeah, I think this game's going to be somewhat close. I think the Mavs are going to come to play. But I feel like since this game is at Golden State and you do have championship pedigree behind these guys, Steph and Draymond and Klay, they know how to close out games in big moments. So if it's me, I would go with the Warriors winning this game, but I do feel like the Mavericks cover.
Okay.
I don't think you're crazy.
My gut says that the Warriors cover. So yeah, for sure the Mavericks will cover now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
You do the reverse thing. Look, I was.
That's
when it comes to the NBA, you're not.
That's the way it's been going.
Yeah, who really knows? Like we can sit here and say like no one really knows. You've seen in the Celtics Heat series is perfect example of no one knows. They're just killing each other.
Yeah.
They're just destroying each other.
All right, onto the ice quickly. Look, the Blues fought their way back. We all had the Avs last night. We all had the Avalanche -1.5. The Blues fight their way back. Score with, 30 seconds left? Score with 30 seconds left, force OT, and beat the Avalanche. Thoughts here?
Avalanche, you choked. That's what you did. You choked this one away. And it's so confusing me. I'm not a hockey guru. You know, realistically, I just started watching this playoffs. Have I learned to like it? For sure. Am I learning how things go? For sure. But they had 2 real chances after the Blues went with the empty net to shoot the puck at the goal, and they didn't. That's what freaked me out. I watched the Oilers versus the Flames when it comes to empty net, and if they would have got right when the Oilers got the puck on an empty net, boom, it's that goal. Boom, it's that goal. That's how Kane scored for me to cover. I watched the Avalanche. You're up 3-0 at home, and you choke that away. Now I don't believe in you. And when it comes to that team, and I've been saying this, When they play the Lightning, you can tell the difference between the Lightning and the Avalanche because when the Lightning put their foot on your throat,
you die.
They turn your boot and you're dead, right? The Avalanche put it there. They'll look at you and it's like, well, I don't know if I want to do this. Maybe start crying a little bit. Lightning will finish you. The Avs will give you a chance, and that's the difference between a championship team and a team that plays big dog, but they might be a little bit of a small one.
It's very simple what I got to say to the Avs.
Mm-hmm. What is that?
I got no time for you.
What is
disgusting? Disgusting. Disgusting. Up 3-0. McKinnon, when it's tied 3-3, makes an absolute MVP play to give you the lead, and you guys still blow it. No faith in you. No faith in you. I'm with playing with the Lightning. I'll never bet on you again. You disappointed everybody, including David Cone, which disappointed Baby Cone. Congrats, Avalanche. You upset a toddler. You're disgusting. I'll never root for you.
Man, at this point, Baby Cone's just looking around the house like, sorry, Dad. I mean, I wish you could hit one.
Well, look, I have no...
Well, he's like, hey, I'll give you my pick for the damn, like, son, no. No, you do your thing.
Trash can.
Street, you know?
It was a trash can last
hot.
night. Is what it was.
It's
hot.
So,
I don't know, but, you know, I still think the Avalanche will come out of the West. I still think they will, but that was pretty disappointing, even though I've been saying, man, the Blues are not to be trifled with. The Blues are not to be trifled with.
I understand that, but you're up 3-0 at home.
Mm-hmm.
In an eliminate, you can win the series.
3-0 at home to close
now I hope you lose. Now I hope you lose.
So let me ask you this. So if the Avalanche win this and the Oilers win this, they play each other.
Yes.
Give me the Oilers.
Give you the Oilers coming out of the West? Man, you're not crazy to say that.
Give me the Oilers.
No.
You're not crazy to say that. Well, let's talk about that series for a second. So you have Oilers-Flames. That one got out of hand a little bit more than I suspected, too. I think they're on the ice tonight, actually. I mean, can the Flames even fight back at this point? Remember, they won the first game 9-6.
Yeah, well, they scored 3 goals in like the first 30 seconds and then gave up 6 at home after having a lead. I think the Oilers, honestly, are the second best team in
behind
hockey.
the Lightning. Ahead of the Canes? Ahead of the Avs. Wow.
I really think that.
I think the Canes are a better team than the Oilers.
I think the Canes
thing that scared me
at home.
The thing that scared me
Canes
about
at
the
home.
Oilers is this: the Oilers. I had the bet in this game. We're up 3-0. Gave up 2 goals in 30 seconds, and the Flames for the second period of their last game and the third period dominated those 2 periods. Mike Smith scares me at goal for the Oilers. The Oilers' defense scares me. They have one of the best attacking offenses, in my opinion. Their top line is extremely good. There might not be a better one out there, but their defense scares me and their goalie scares me. And it almost comes down to these big games, these big series against great teams, is how good is your goalie? You know, your goalie, in my opinion, is your quarterback. That's what you just said. Mike Smith can be very questionable at times. The Oilers' defense can be very questionable at times, and that's what scares me. But I do think they beat the Avs because the Avs' defense is okay and their offense is okay. But the thing about the Avs that scares me is like they almost got a little Auburn in them. I'm just waiting for them to mess up.
Mm.
You know, I watch the Lightning. I'm not waiting for the Lightning to mess up. I'm just waiting for the Lightning to show me their identity, and their identity is defense, and just know how to play the game of hockey, get in front of balls. I don't see that from the Avs.
You know, trending at the right time, we always talk about how important that is in the postseason. Now, trending at the right time is a little bit less important when you have the luxury of a 7-game series, right? March Madness, single elimination. You got to be trending at the right time because you can't even drop one. But even with a 7-game series, you have to be trending at the right time. We talked about the Florida Panthers and how great they were during the regular season. They weren't trending at the right time.
Nope.
You know, we talked about the Avalanche, how good they were in the regular season. It appears like they're not trending at the right time, whereas the Oilers and the 2-time defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning are trending, and they seem like they have that experience to be able to take it all the way.
I agree with you. I think we're all in agreement on who the best team in the NHL is. And I think we're also in agreement the Booster Club is the greatest grassroots movement since R&B. Blaine, what are they saying? Let's get the Booster Club about 8 minutes here before we get in the bets.
All right, let's get in. Daily
Get
Hater.
your questions in, YouTube and Daily Wire brand.
Daily Hater says Oilers all the way.
The whole way or just out of the
whole
West?
way? We're not going halfway, stopping it. They're going all the way.
Wow.
Look,
Connor McDavid's probably the best player on the ice.
I think it's the Lightning, but, you know, again, I just think they're the more complete team.
All right. Who is Ryan MCC? When the Lightning had the lead, they smell blood in the water and shut you down, block shots, score goals, and make life easy for their goalie.
They get in the middle.
Vasilevsky?
Yeah,
talking about the Lightning?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah, you don't
They
win
just clog the
back-to-back
middle.
championships unless you have every facet needed.
All right. Pretzel Jim, if the Mavs come back and win this series, does it say more about the Mavs or the Warriors?
I think the Mavs, because the Mavs will be doing it with a team that I think is not even remotely close to what the Warriors have from a depth and ability standpoint. And it would show you why Luka is the best player left in the playoffs. If that were to happen, that would cement it for me.
That would say more about the Mavs. We're talking about a team that was supposed to get swept by the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
A lot of us had them getting swept when Luka was out. Well, they were able to steal a game or two. Then when he came back, they won that series. Well, for sure they're going to lose to the Memphis Grizzlies, right? No, went 7, won that series. Now, if they were able to be down, they were down 3-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were down 3-0 to the Warriors and came back and won this series. Look, you can't take anything from them at that point.
I agree. Blaine, YouTube branch, what's going down?
Yeah, sorry, it's me. It's typing. All right, Connor Morgan. Couple things here. He says, Jake said the Heat will win last night, so you can predict the Celtics dub. Thanks. I also predicted that, too, so you can put me in that boat. Connor Morgan says, hashtag Ask Cranco, best running back in college football this upcoming season. Who will it be, and why will it be Tank Bigsby?
Ooh,
Tank is, from an individual standpoint, in my opinion, the best back.
I have a different one.
But the best back on the best team is Jahmyr Gibbs, guy who transferred from Georgia Tech to Alabama. Now you're behind an elite offensive line, be a little bit different than you were at Georgia Tech. Shout out to our buddy Jeff Collins there. But the passing game that Alabama will have will open it up even more for him. This kid, I'm just telling you, this Jahmyr Gibbs kid, he may have a chance to win the Heisman this year.
I think the best college running back returning this year is Bijan Robinson.
That's another
Texas Longhorns. Please give him some help. I don't know what Quinn Ewers is going to do, but the kid didn't have any help.
Well, he better hope. Quinn Ewers better hope Bijan Robinson. I know that offensive line for Texas is going to be somewhat legit, but Quinn better hope that Bijan's able to do it on the ground, because there's the only one thing worse than having a true freshman quarterback starting is a true freshman quarterback starting on an offense that's one-dimensional. You're going to get him killed. That's what's going to happen.
All right, Andrew Hamill, hashtag Ask Cranco. Who takes over the Big 12 when Oklahoma and Texas leave for the SEC?
It's Baylor. David
or
Aranda.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
those are the two.
Well, it's funny, and Blaine, you brought up this point. We always think of the Big 12 offensively, but if you look at what's really won the conference,
turn defense.
It's new. This is new for them.
Difficult. I really believe the additions that the Big 12 is adding, I really like. I think that's the best thing they could have done, but you're losing 2 Titans. But Baylor and Dave Aranda, you've already got structure. You've already shown you can do it. He knows, I know he had Jerry Bohan and some of those other guys. He knows how to build a team and a winner in that conference. And then Gundy at Oklahoma State, who's totally flipped the script on how Oklahoma State used to be. Remember, it was flying down the field, craziness, and now it's a little bit more defensive. The offense is a little bit slower. I would say Baylor and Oklahoma State's a good one.
It's shocking and it's fun to see those two teams concentrate on defense, and they played for the conference championship.
I tell you what,
and it went down to the wire.
That's exactly right.
I'll say one thing on Baylor. One red flag for Baylor moving forward as Texas and Oklahoma leave is, will Dave Aranda still be there? Does he jump to an even bigger job? I mean, look, Mike Gundy's going to be at Oklahoma State. He did sign an
But if you're Dave Aranda,
it's his dream job.
But Baylor, number one, is a private school. They got a lot of money. Not worried about the money that Baylor's bringing in. But if you're Dave Aranda, you're really in the perfect spot.
I know.
Because, again, Oklahoma and Texas are leaving. The 2 big brand names. Who's going to be the next brand name to get up? Why can't it be another team from Texas in Baylor? And if I'm looking at Dave Aranda, I'm looking around, and it's like, all right, those 2 leave and you bring the rest of them. I'm kind of feeling like king of the castle, and maybe Baylor can start going on a even bigger run while he's there, which will make him look even better. I think Dave Aranda played the lotto, and he played it perfect.
Well, let's say, go ahead.
I was going to say, in Cincinnati going to the Big 12?
Yep, yes. Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, and UCF.
How early does Cincinnati really compete in that conference?
Well, here's what I'll say. You returned 7 starters on offense, only 4 on defense. You lost a ton. I know they've talked about the backup quarterback. I've got to see it. Because Desmond Ridder, while I don't believe with him at the Falcons, he was a really good college quarterback. And they have great culture there with Luke Fickell. I think they're going to be good, but some people got them in the top 15. I don't see it. With what you've lost, I just don't see it, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think Cincinnati would be good. They won't be what they were last year.
I hear everything you're saying on Dave Aranda at Baylor. But 3 seasons from now, let's say the Steve Sarkisian experiment doesn't work out in Austin and Dave Aranda were to be offered the Texas job. He's not turning down Texas for Baylor. Let's say Ryan Day does want to go flirt and experiment with the NFL.
How do we know, though? How do we know that Dave Aranda's not taking the job? Lincoln Riley didn't take that LSU job. And
first of all, no one knows anything that's inside anyone else's head, but especially Dave Aranda.
That's true.
Like Dave Aranda's
never talks.
3 words. You go up to this guy and be like, "Hey, I bet you $10 I could get you to say more than 2 words."
One punch man.
You lose.
Yeah, literally.
Dave Aranda looks like One Punch Man.
All right, Jimbo Eagle here, and he says, "How would you guys rate Jason's kid's ability to as a head coach, and rate him his job he's done this series?"
What are we talking about?
Like just Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd.
I thought he said Jason's kids. I mean, I think he's done a heck of a job. I mean, the Mavs got Luka, yes, but what else? Mm-hmm. What else? Jalen Brunson's really come on in a money year. You don't have a ton of pieces if you're the Mavs. I think Jason Kidd has done a lot with Luka and then the little pieces around him to get him this far. The thing I like about Jason Kidd is his team believes. His teams don't quit, and his team believes. I know the first experiment with him as a head coach didn't go over perfectly, but you learn. Most head coaches, when they get their second chance, tend to do well as compared to their first chance because they know what the job entails. You can be the greatest player of all time and be a bad coach. You can be a guy that never, ever played, that was never any good, and be a great coach. It's not easy to go from great player to great coach. Those are two totally different jobs, and I think Jason Kidd's done a good job of it. And I love the fit of Jason Kidd at the Mavs.
So which former point guard head coach would you be more bullish on for the next 5 years? Jason Kidd or Steve Nash?
Jason Kidd. First, yeah, definitely.
That's all that Steve Nash.
I think Steve Nash just wants to be everybody's buddy. I think Steve Nash just wants to be everybody's buddy.
I think I agree with that.
This is one thing that I've said during our argument, when we had the LeBron and Michael arguments. You see a lot more zone now in the NBA playoffs than you've ever seen. Golden State, the one thing Golden State can't do with the Mavs is run man on one-on-one. You just can't do it. The Mavs
just go ISO.
Yeah, so mismatched with Luka, you can't do it. So Golden State's most of the time running a zone, and you see Dallas doing their best to win those games when the role players are hitting threes because you're in that zone. So you run the zone to try to take away the most important player because when he tries to get to a spot, there's two people there. Mm-hmm. That's where you run the zone. But they're working. The one thing I saw with the Mavs, they worked the extra pass, and role players were hitting big shots. And
if Finney Smith is going to shoot the way, look, the Mavs shot the lights out. As bad as the Heat shot last night, the Mavs had like 15 3-pointers before halftime. Like it was ridiculous. But it's time, guys. After last night's debacle, heading over to the board of extraordinary success, incredible defeat, and screw the abs. That's the name of the board today. All right, here's what we're going with. It's a back and forth month. So you got to take some chances. All right, we're coming down to the stretch here. It's getting awfully physical. Give me Canes money line minus 150. Cone, I got it at minus 150, so I'll put yours at minus 150. I know we have the same bet. Going Canes minus 150 at home. Please, Canes. I'm a Preds guy. I know I turned you down. You made the final two. You weren't my choice, but I'm picking you tonight. Show me why I should have picked you. Pull a Kaepernick. Now, Draymond Green. Guys, I'm trying to get the units up. Draymond Green.
I feel it.
Double. Here we go.
I feel it.
Double. Plus 375. That's it. Not double-double in a win. Not double-double in a loss. Not double-double in regulation. Not double-double, oops, you're in trouble. It's Draymond Green, double-double, plus 375. Come on, Draymond. Don't get kicked out of the game. Just don't do anything stupid. Cone, what you got?
Hey, Bet Buds, Canes money line. And
Giants, help us, God.
And I will take the extra boost in the odds there at minus 150. Thank you. And then I'm going to take the Red Sox first five minus a half run with Michael Wacha on the mound against Dallas Keuchel.
Michael Wacha. That's Waka Flocka Flames.
Wacha. Hiya. Okay, against Dallas Keuchel. So let's go Red Sox. Let's keep swinging those bats. What do you say, kids?
Swing them, dog.
Sox been hot a little bit. Here's what I'm taking. Yesterday, I don't want to talk about it. Whatever, don't care. All right.
I was not happy. Let's just put it that way.
I'm going home hockey teams. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I believe the Flames have to win this game to stay alive in this series.
You're playing the 1-on-1 game.
If I'm correct. I'm taking the Flames regulation win. All right, so they have to win in regulation. If they go to overtime, I lose.
Flames in regulation.
Plus 110. Yes.
After you just said the Oilers were going to win the whole thing.
Yes.
You think the Flames win tonight at home in Calgary?
That's totally, I get that.
Things are a little different when you're fighting for your life.
Fighting in the playoffs.
Fighting for your life. And then I'm taking I was between either these two bets or taking the Oilers, Rangers combined money line. It was
because you hit that the other night.
It was boosted on FanDuel. It was plus 380, but I didn't like it. I feel like one of these teams are going to lose, but hopefully both of them do. I'm taking the Canes at home. Regulation, have to win regulation. It goes overtime, I'll lose. I believe they're at plus 110. Both these bets are at plus 110. I'm taking home teams.
Look, I got to be honest before we read the Boost Club bets. I mean, I got to brag on your son for a second. And we all know he's 8 months old, picks all his own bets, goes, researches them on the internet. We all know toddlers can do that. He's going to go Angels first five money line, and I don't know why I just don't pick one of his bets. I mean, he's 19-6 overall since we started him, and he's 16-6 in the month. He's basically pulling up to Vegas walking in the casino with a gun and taking all their money.
I have to hear about it every night. Wah, wah. He's going for Hall of Fame twice. I think he's 7-0 right now. I got to hear about it every night.
Look, and we're going to get replacement cone up here. We're going to give him one. But I do also want to give another shout out to Papa Link 90 for being in the Hall of Fame at 8-0. We'll see. I think he's still got the streak going. It may be at 9-0. Our poor
You have a Hall of Fame member?
Papa
yeah,
Link.
for yesterday.
Papa
From
Link!
yesterday.
Congrats, man. Hey, we're filling up. We're knocking on doors in hotels. People are crying, getting excited.
They are. We're not. But he said like the Hall of Fame. Like in the Hall of Fame, when you're in the NFL Hall of Fame and the big guy comes and knocks on your door and like,
he said, Papa Link, congratulations.
You made the Hall of Fame. It's like, oh man, for real? Like everybody starts crying their families? I'd cry.
I'd cry.
I'm crying right now.
you're making, I'd cry if you get to make, look, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Of football.
You're in the Hall of Fame. I can't remember that one guy off Lord of the Rings when he held the ring. Right? But
Are we doing this?
traitor.
You don't remember his name?
I can't, and it's going to bother me for a while, but I'm going to find out what.
Squirtle guy.
You didn't know what that means.
That makes me uncomfortable. So you're saying
you made it into the Hall of Fame. You are part of an exclusive group. Is that everybody in the Hall of Fame right there?
Yeah, that's it.
You're part of a group of 6 people. I feel like the true OGs are 10 and under.
Just wait.
You are an OG Booster Club Hall of Fame member. Congratulations to you and your family. And I know that you were waiting on this for a long time. And congratulations.
Can I get the glasses for a second?
No.
Can I see the blue blocks? Yeah, hand me the blue blocks. Yeah, hand me some glasses. Oh, wait, we got some blue blocks right here.
Here.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Let's all put them on.
Let's all put them on. Put it on, Cone.
Let's all put them on.
All right.
Blue blocks.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, wow, my IQ just went up 40.
That's great, isn't it?
Hold on.
We have another opportunity for somebody to achieve the greatness that is the Hall of Fame. JMPB _ the only one is 7-0.
Yes.
Going for 8-0. Can you imagine how crazy the Booster Club is going to be during football season? Y'all think it's wild right now? I don't know how we're going to be able to read this on the show, but if you've got a friend who loves sports gamble and they're not in the Booster Club, you better get ready because spots are going to be running out during football season.
Oh, and he's putting it on the line with the Oilers over.
And he's here, JMPB. What, Blaine?
I love it.
What do you want?
Do we think we need to get Hall of Fame members to like send in a video of like how
their speech?
Yes.
Their Hall of Fame speech.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
That's a great thought. You
Okay.
have a lot of good ideas.
So I raise my hand.
Every now and then. So you're going to raise your hand when you have one that's really, really good.
When you feel good.
So that's
I wanted to hit true.
So that's the standard from now on. You only talk when you have an idea that good and you raise your hand.
That's not
all right.
that.
Sounds good.
That's not the standard.
So all the people on the Hall of Fame board, send in your celebration or your acceptance video.
I want to see this. And again, your face can be in it or it can't. It's whatever. But he's taking the Oilers over 2.5 goals tonight in regulation. They score 3 goals. Our boy JMPB _ the only one becomes a Hall of Famer, and he's going to get his jacket. We're getting those made. Steam _ boat 6-0. Some of you are hot right now. He wants the Twins money line -160. Tall Riot is 5-0. Dodgers money line -190. Cigars Are Life is 4-0. And it says Blue Jays versus Angels. Doesn't have a bet on there. We'll look at that again. They're definitely going to play. So if that's the bet, you're going to hit it. Well, they may not. I don't know. It may rain. I don't want to.
Well, Baby Cone has the Angel, so
yeah, that's true.
I need to know if it gets postponed.
So, all right, let's go. Tyson's right hook is 3-0. Wants the Cubs Reds under 9 runs. That's -115. Trevor Robeson is 3-0. Wants the Rays under 4 runs in the first 5 innings. Chris Lavallee, not Lava Lamp, maybe Lava Lee. I don't know. New Booster Club member, welcome to the party. He wants Curry and Klay Thompson at least 8 made threes combined at +130. Dangerous, man. Nick Folian Dynamite, I actually like that. Welcome to the Booster Club. He wants the Flames money line -156. And Coistus, new to the Booster Club, wants the Oilers money line +132.
No!
And then Private Chonky is doing
live
something that's really hard to do. You think it's hard to go 8-0?
Yeoman's work.
Try and go 0-8.
Yep.
Reverse.
Right now he is 0-7, and he put as a message 1.life. Left. Dodgers money line -190. I love it. I love it. We'll see how it goes on there. Keep mixing it up. Remember, tell everybody once football season get here, it's gonna be awfully physical because we're gonna put out more bets than just that. Like we've been talking about, are we gonna slate it? Are we gonna do 5? How are we gonna do it?
I've been pushing for slates for a while now.
You have been pushing for slates. What are we parting shots from the Booster Club?
Okay, one thing.
What?
And now I'm upset. It's Boromir.
Boromir. Oh, that's such a Boromir thing to say.
Now you're just Boromir.
Yeah, no, it's the interview.
Or is it the interview?
It's the interview.
Not.
He's like, I'm not Boromir. He's like, that's such a Boromir thing to say.
We all look like nerds, apparently.
Yeah.
Control, Dalt, delete. First question for
Dalt.
Yeah, where you been?
Dalt.
Hashtag Ask Cranico. Will Iowa football continue its decade-old tradition of blowing a top 10 ranking to a team like Northwestern and then crashing and burning?
I think as long as they got, Ferentz there, especially as the OC, I don't think Iowa's going to be very good offensively. And I hate that because I coached Mekhi Sargent when he was in junior college, and I love Mekhi, and I know he's in the NFL. And you go to an Iowa offense, it's just meh, bleh, just bleh. That's what Iowa's offense is. I know last year, quarterback struggled, the offense struggled. Shout out my boy Logan Swaim. I know it's tough for you. I hadn't name dropped that one in a while. Iowa, I just don't believe. I don't believe in Iowa State either. And I love the state of Iowa. It's great. Got great corn.
But they will have a litany of great linebackers.
And great corn.
They will. For sure.
What would you rather do? All right.
Is this from the Booster Club?
Watch paint dry or watch Iowa on offense?
I watch Iowa on offense because I love football.
What type of pain is it?
No.
Exactly.
I want to watch football.
What's the difference, David? There's not one.
I want to watch football.
All right. Rabid Rabbit says, pretty sure I beat up a spectacled cone in grade school.
Really? You might have.
How about now?
Yeah. When he's 8'3", 260
Oh, my back.
pounds.
Oh, my back.
Yeah.
A twisted steel and sex appeal. All right, Blaine, one more from the YouTube branch. Or we want to go Daily Wire branch?
We're going to go Daily Wire branch. Okay. All right. I got one right here. All right.
Okay.
First of all, Kurt Comment says, good burn from a Squirtle guy. Congrats on that.
That was good.
Jimbo Eagle says, question for the guys. Will you guys plan on doing a fantasy football league for the Booster Club? If so, how much would the buy-in be?
How should we do it?
How many teams can you have in a we have
too many people.
Too many people. There's not enough players, which is a great thing for us. Or should we have the Booster Club Fantasy Buy-in Tournament? You have to be sub to the Daily Wire.
What does that even mean?
We do bets to see who can fill out 15 slots. Whoever wins, like the top 15, we'll think about it. We'll workshop it. You want to workshop it?
Yeah, we'll workshop it.
For every problem, there is a solution.
There is. We'll think tank it. We'll think tank / workshop it.
It's a brain trust situation here.
In the trust tree.
Is there a solution to every problem?
Is there a problem to every solution?
Is there a solution to every
Is there a problem to every solution?
You think about that before
you think about that.
You think about it.
You take those glasses off and you think about it.
You put them on and you think about it.
I will take these off and then put them on. If you put those on and take them off and think about it.
We're in public. You're disgusting. All right, appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you're following us on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, all that. Live 2 to 3 Central, as you know, on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed to thedailywire.com, let me improve your life a little bit. Go do it. It's great. We love it. Shout out to the chat, DW branch, Booster Club, YouTube branch as well. Until tomorrow, we're getting closer to football season, so we're talking a lot of foosball. And like us not talking foosball every show, we're going, gone.